Good morning, everybody. Believe it or not, I am early. Thanks for being here. And I appreciate everybody that joins in, whether it is live or on replay. So, we are digging into extreme punishment. And after today, we will be over halfway through. Hard to believe. But we have a lot to cover today. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and get started a little bit early. And for those of you that are new, welcome. On Sunday mornings, I keep my camera off because it is coffee and jammy time. And welcome Judy and Tater and True Crime Wifey, CM, Audrey, all the early ones, Forensic RNN. So happy you're here. And look at that. True Crime Wifey's been a member for 6 months. How's that even possible? I think were you like one of the first? I think you were. I think you and Patty Ann were. But I am super pumped to get into today's. So let's go ahead and get started. I've got some different footage and things trying to, keep it interesting for everybody, read some parts of the book. But I think there is a part where it's going over timelines with the cell phones that I always find so interesting to look back at. But like I said, today we're covering more chapters than usual. So not only does Epstein have chapters for the book, he also has sections. So this section is called Part 2, Police Work. So chapter 12, we start out and it's titled Breadcrumbs. And July 18th. Let me make this larger so it's easier. I know some of y'all are on phones. Details on Trescott Drive. So he explains about Dan's broken glasses in the garage, where they were broken at, like on the bridge, and a piece was in the floorboard, and then, or maybe in the garage floor. And then when they removed Dan, I guess a piece was in the seat. His wallet was in the glove box. There was $68 cash in the wallet. And he also describes there was yellow crime scene tape at 5 houses in each direction, which we all know our favorite unindicted co-conspirator claims she couldn't even turn on the street because of the tape. But we all know that's not true. And here's just a photo of that day of where some of the police tape is there, sectioning off Trescott. So then Epstein goes in to explain how Joanne Maltese, forensic specialist who swabbed Wendy for the gunshot residue and photographed her, she also went to the hospital to photograph Dan's injuries. And True Crime Wifey kicking us off. That is so kind. Gifted 20 memberships. I don't even know if we have 20 people in here yet. That is so kind. I guess when they pop in, will they receive it? Thank you. That's so kind. And yeah, the tape says police line, do not cross, right? It doesn't say a tree fell, electrical storm, right? I appreciate you. Yep. Let's keep going strong. Thanks, everybody. So he describes in the book that there were 2 bullet wounds to the face. The first was above, just above the tear duct in his left eye. Second was on the left cheek, below the opposite corner. And at the hospital, a nurse did remove a piece of glass from this, and he had a narrow band of black gunpowder residue across his forearm. So I thought we could link Joanne Maltese's.
So did you photograph
This is who Joanne Maltese is.
your duties?
Now, I don't know about y'all. I've watched these trials a lot, like probably more than I should even admit. But this is Joanne Maltese. I did not realize from all the times I've watched Wendy's interview that was who was photographing her. So I thought I'd just play a few minutes of this as she details everything. Epstein explains it in the book. Just kind of keeps this more interesting for everybody.
All right. May I publish states 11?
You may.
All right. Just if you'll just kind of walk us through these photos and what we're looking at in states 11.
This photo is the rear passenger area showing children's shoes and car seats.
All right, were the kids present when you were working the crime scene?
No, they were not.
State's Exhibit 12, please. What is this a photograph of?
It's a piece of broken eyeglass that was on the floor of the garage.
And how was the eyeglass broken, if you know?
The opticals or the lenses were located still inside of the vehicle. Just half of the eyeglass was outside, and there is damage to the nose piece of the eyeglass.
Potentially consistent with the bullet causing the damage to the glasses?
It would be consistent.
All right, State's Exhibit 13, please. What is this show?
This is the optical or the lens of a pair of glasses located on the floorboard of the vehicle in the driver's compartment.
State's Exhibit 14. What is this?
It's going to be a wallet found in the glove box of the vehicle.
Was the glove box open or shut when you arrived on scene?
It was closed.
All right, State's Exhibit 15. Did it appear that the box had been rifled through or that any items had been taken from the wallet?
No.
State's Exhibit 16. What does this show?
This is going to be the driver's side door window, the driver's door window with a hole in the glass.
Consistent with a bullet hole?
Yes, it would be.
State's Exhibit 17. What does this show?
This is another photograph from a different angle of the same hole in the window that would be consistent with a bullet hole.
And did you collect some physical items of evidence from the photographs that we've just looked at?
Yes, I did.
Show you some of those. Start with State's Exhibit 115. Do you recognize 115?
Yes.
What is 115?
It's going to be the eyeglass frame that was from the passenger floorboard, the front passenger floorboard in the vehicle.
And State's Exhibit 116, what is that one?
116 is going to be the other side of the eyeglass frame that was on the garage floor.
May I publish? I'm sorry, I'd like to introduce 116 and 117.
Yeah, the objection from the code.
Okay.
Correction for the record, Your Honor, 115 and 116.
States 115 and 116 are admitted at this time.
Gosh, it never gets old seeing some footage from Charlie's trial. Check out the sheriff behind him, that key. I mean, holy cow. That is a key you don't really see these days. Was that the key to the maestro's cell? Just kidding. Tater says Charlie's hair looks like the Joker. Good morning, Malka. Audrey, Charlie looks like he took a drug and he's tripping because he doesn't know what's going on. Yeah. Ooh. Charlie looks unwell during his trial. Vitamin D deficiency. I know. He was so pale and he turned green the day of his verdict. Tater, he is not attractive with his Donna ears and his humongous forehead. Malka has key envy, right? I mean, that is a serious key. All right. Back to, so we kind of covered what she saw and what she found. And then we know, of course, that Geiger saw the Prius. So that gave them something to kind of go and look back to. So while reviewing the gym footage, they saw that the Prius did park in two different spaces while Dan was in the gym. And of course, the premiere footage was not super great. And they could tell the Prius had tinted windows, so they couldn't see inside. There was camera footage from the Centennial Bank branch on Thomasville. And that security camera did show Dan driving by at 8:30 a.m. and it showed a Prius following it, which gave them, aha, Dan was being stalked or followed for at least 2 hours. So then investigator Greg Wilder said, we need to look at the city buses because he knew they had these cameras on them. So they go and look, and there were two key bus cameras. So there was bus number 505, and it could make out that the Prius had a Florida license plate, but the footage could not make out what the actual plate number stuff was. But then 707 bus camera was really key because it actually got up next to the Prius and they could see there was movement inside, which we now have heard Luis describe that it was basically Sigfredo all hyped up. We know he was doing all kinds of stuff, but he was trying to do something with the gun in the car. True Crime Wifey says Charlie was so uninformed in regards to the real evidence. Charlie only memorized rebuttals to Dolce Vita and wiretaps. Charlie had no additional information about evidence. You're so right. That's a great point. Which you would have thought he would have watched the prior trials. I mean, his attorney, Dan Rashbaum. Well, let me take that back. The only one he could have watched was 2019 because he was in jail for Katie's second trial. So, but yeah, he should have, instead of just memorizing his little timeline, he should have been looking at all the evidence. So based on the camera footage from the buses, they being the investigators with Tallahassee, were able to be in contact with Toyota corporate, and they got some details that the Prius that they had photos of was a model between 2006 and 2009. It was the silver pine mica color, and we know the three identifiers of the car. It was the missing front tow hook cover. The mirror was an aftermarket side mirror. It was black. It wasn't the color of the car. And there was a white box toll card up in the windshield, which we know would be a key. Yeah, Malka says, never hire an attorney with the word rash in the surname, right? So investigators were canvassing Benton Hills, and they went over to the Ashford Club apartments. And just so y'all know, like, there's lots of details in this book, and we just don't have the time to go over it all. If you're a book reader, I would recommend reading it. If you love this case as much as I think we all do, you will enjoy it. So then there was a resident at the Ashford Club Apartments that reports seeing some things on Thursday, July 17th. She says she saw a bluish silver Prius, two men in a car, walk to a path by a drainage ditch. The driver was tall with a runner's build, fair complexion. Sounds like Sigfredo. Passenger was shorter, darker, Hispanic or Italian. They went out of view, and 10 minutes later, they were in view, and they were walking back, and they were wet. The shorter one being wetter than the tall one, who was like wet up to the knees, and they had a black object in hand. Here for Today says this book has so much new info that I hadn't heard. Yes, and also I want to make sure y'all know, I did email Ruth and I asked her. I said, "Hey, so we're doing the book club this time on extreme punishment, and there's just a lot of details I haven't heard before. Do you know where Epstein got a lot of this?" And she said, "Oh, she's a very amicable relationship with Epstein." And she said she did an extensive interview with him for it. So I think that he also interviewed a lot of other people, but I just wanted to share that. But then I went and looked on, now this is more recent, the Ashford apartment at Benton Hills, and I was just trying to get some exterior photos. And of course, True Crime Wifey has actually gone and walked through there. Things have changed since 2014, but it was more easily accessible to Dan Markel's property, if I recall. Yes, True Crime Wifey says Stephen Epstein provided lots of details. He's also an attorney, so I'm assuming he could get documents a little easier than the rest of us. This is kind of an aerial view of the Ashford apartments, Ashford Club. So again, very close to Dan's forensic RNN. I believe he has corrected all that in the years. So this book was written in 2022, but I believe now that's not exactly what he thinks. So I just want to correct that, because at the time when I was first reading this book, I stopped reading it because there was all this hoopla about him and how he wasn't thinking Wendy did it. But my understanding is that view has completely changed. Okay. So I just want to be sure we get that out. True crime wife, yes, things have changed. The ditch is 9 to 12 feet deeper than in 2014. Oh, interesting. This is just another view of the Ashford Apartments. So y'all can see how it borders along. I don't know which building Mrs. Parks was in, but I mean, was this really investigated? Because this just seems a little too coinky dinky for me. Oh, wow. What is that? A pool shower? It's got a little playground, but some nice outdoor space there. Good evening, everybody. Yes. So I would not be covering this book if his stance was pro her. I just want to make that known. Okay. Interesting. True Crime Wifey says the pathway to Trescott from Ashford's is fenced off now. Well, that's going to make it difficult when I go down there for my field trip, isn't it? Am I going to have to climb? Is it like a chain link fence? Just kidding. I'm not going to climb it. But y'all should go to True Crime Wifey's channel. She has walked through this before to show it like in real time. So go under her videos. But a lot of people didn't know that little nugget. So just wanted to share. Yeah, thanks, Mia, for putting the link in there. All right. Also, in chapter 12, they talk about Jeff Lacoste because we all know that that was going to be kind of like the fall guy. And he had a Kmart receipt from Sweetwater, Tennessee, which y'all know I'm in Tennessee. And Sweetwater is, believe it or not, I do know somebody from there. But I thought, I wonder what the Kmart looks like. So I went online, and that is the Kmart in Sweetwater. It is now closed because you know why? It's been almost 12 years and things start closing. But we know Kmart's have closed. Believe it closed. I believe it was 2016. So that was the Kmart. Y'all remember Kmart's? Yes, Linda. Thank you. State of Florida has sunshine laws, which allows a lot of access to docks that other states don't. That is correct. That is why everybody in the true crime world, we will often be following Florida cases. People think, my God, Florida's so messed up with all these horrible crimes. But really, I mean, yes, Florida's a big state with a big population. That's naturally going to have a larger number of crimes. But it's also because it's easier for people to follow these cases because there's readily accessible documents. Just like you can go online to a case file and find things. I mean, we know recently when I was covering the Blaze Taylor trial in Tennessee, you have to request everything. Back to the ditch here for today says, I think someone dropped in that money in the ditch. I do too. Oh, thanks, True Crime Wifey. Miss Park saw them on the south side parking lot of the apartments in 2014. Forensic RNN. I literally stopped reading it when he was interviewed. I hope he has made that clear now about Wendy. I think Judy knows more on that too. And Ruth even said in there was some controversy, and I'm sure your subscribers will know, but I am on good terms. I think if he was pro unindicted co-conspirator, I can't say that I think she would be chatting with him. Hey, Blue River. Yes, I know Kmart. It's like I can almost smell it looking at this picture. You know, when you walk in one of those stores in the summertime and it's like you smell fertilizer and chlorine. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Sidebar Snoop. Jeff Lacoste had an angel riding with him. I agree. Yep. Jeff's receipts, True Crime Wifey says, and his tire blowout on the way to Tennessee saved him from being Wendy's fall guy and Patsy. Yes, for sure. Legal. There was confusion about whether the women really saw Sigfredo and Lewis back there. Lewis denied going back there and said maybe it was King Anthony. Regardless, it didn't get brought up in trials, right? Yeah. And we know from what Georgia has said in that recent CLE that people are covering some, and Judy reviewed the transcript with us recently. She says there's just so much you have to really focus on what's important to bring to a trial, and thought that was interesting. And I really think she just needs to let all of us comb through everything. The fact that in her planner they did not see the send Catherine a paycheck or a check, that kind of alarmed me, but I'm not gonna critique her. Yeah, Kmart was just, it was great. All right. So all right, the next one, this one was kind of interesting. Elizabeth Boyette. So some of you that have been covering this for a while will remember this lady. So she was kind of like that nosy Nelly that worked with in the law school, I should say, where Dan Markel, and she had heard he was going through a divorce, and she and her husband were house shopping, and as luck would have it, so the investigators could tell everybody that had accessed the county appraiser's website. And so they got her name because she had done 30 searches on the county appraiser's website. And lo and behold, one of them was Dan's house. So there is a police interview out there with her, and she's just all like prim and proper, like she's out of a little J. Crew catalog. And she's like, "Oh, we were just looking at places. Oh, we would never buy that house. Like it was ugly." Or again, I'm paraphrasing something about it had a garage on the front of the house. But y'all really should type that in. I don't remember who covered it, maybe Jay or somebody. Yeah, Mia is linking Judy's channel. Thank you. Yep. She's got some good coverage, great interviews. She actually interviewed Epstein right before this book release. So True Crime Wifey says, Luis Rivera says during his proffer that they scoped out Dan's house from the back side. FBI Pat Sanford could not substantiate Mrs. Park's claims. That's true. Interesting. Judy says Steve Epstein, the writer of this book, spoke at a CLE about the case last year and didn't really touch on Wendy's involvement. Yeah. He's an attorney too. I mean, he's going to be, yeah, Boyette was a pill. So y'all need to go and look. Mia is linking all these for y'all in the chat. So if you're here on replay, I appreciate it. And go check that out. She's got the video linked where True Crime Wifey walked through. Oh, okay. True Crime Wifey says Mrs. Parks contacted TPD on July 29th, days after the Prius was in local news. FBI could not substantiate. But on July 29th, were they describing the people in it? Who seemed full of herself? Mrs. Parks? Oh, Miss Boyette. She said Dan was a pompous ass, but she had no problems with him. Oh, yeah. She's one to go and watch. Y'all need to go watch her. Okay, then Epstein gives some information on Isom. So he had been an investigator with TPD since 1989, and he had been in the violent crimes division as an investigator since 2009. So we know this was in 2014. So for about 5 years, he had only been lead in a handful of homicide cases. So we also know Isom did go and attend Dan's memorial. And Tamara Demko did speak with Isom, and that was on July 20th. We know how scared she was, y'all. She went out and bought herself a weapon even after going over to Wendy's house the day before. She felt very spooked when she encountered Harvey there. That's not in the book, but we know those details. But she shared divorce details and that it was very heated with this South Florida relocation and about Wendy's parents. And Isom said, "Hey, why don't you come down and talk to me?" So she did after the service. And I have that video posted as well. It's dated incorrectly. So if you're watching it, it'll show a date of July 21st, which is really the Monday, but it's not. It's July 20th. Alex and Maya Greenberg. So Alex Greenberg, friend of Dan's, also spoke at the service during the divorce. Before the divorce, they had been friends, and they said Wendy and Dan just always seemed like almost too perfect. Mama bear and Papa bear, and it just seemed almost too fake. But when they divorced, they were more Team Danny, and Isom thought, I need to talk to Alex Greenberg. So invited them down. So they have a great interview too. And you can go and find that online as well and see all the different details that they spill. It's fun. I mean, a lot of people get annoyed because they're like, she over talks him. And y'all, a lot of that's just kind of Southern women. I don't know. I don't hold anything against her. I think she's beautiful, and I think they're a cute couple. But they give a lot of details about Dan's dating life, so it was good. Oh yeah, forensic. That's right. Tamara Demko, not only did she go get a weapon, but she wanted a priest. I mean, she was spooked, and she said she just couldn't get out of Tallahassee like fast enough. So during Alex and Maya's interview, they talk about, again, they go into all the details of Dan's dating life, which y'all just have to read. Basically, it was like 3 different women, and he, had definitely met Amy Adler, and things seemed very good there. And at one point in the interview, this is what Alex shared toward the end. He said, "You hate to think somebody would actually ever do, I'm assuming someone was probably hired to kill him. You hate to think that, but somebody did, so it just makes more sense to me than anything." So people are just solving this, right? So Isom sees a quick recurring theme: the Nazi divorce and over-involvement of the Adelsons. They also send the FBI to New York to speak with brother Rob. Here for today. I still don't understand why Harvey hasn't been looked into more closely. Certainly he was part of the Adelson discussions. I agree, but after hearing what Georgia was saying, she doesn't sound like she's like overly confident going into trials. True Crime Wifey and I have texted some about, we text about this stuff all the time, about things in the documents, but it's like Adelson fatigue. And it's just, how whatever your job is, right? You're the expert in it. And so when you talk about something day in and day out, it just becomes like a second language to you. And you're just like, oh yeah, people understand this. And I know in my job, when I kind of back up and think, okay, I need to look at this from an outsider who knows nothing about this industry or anything, you kind of have to slow your roll, as I say, and let people start kind of digesting it. But I feel like it could be that for Georgia. I mean, she's been on this since 2016 when the arrest, when it got moved over to the state attorney's office. So 10 years she's been on it. And even we know from the most recent trial, when the defense objected, it was something about when they asked Jeff Lacoste if he recalls Wendy asking him about what age children retain memories or lose their memories, and they object. And they're like, that wasn't entered in. And she's like, oh yeah, sorry, it was wrong trial. Right? That's what I'm talking about. So I mean, it's not always bad just to get some fresh eyes, and like we're all here for it. We can just all be the Tallahassee interns. Yeah, Judy, that's right. That Wendy and Dan would dance in the kitchen. Thanks, Mia. She's linked to the interview with Epstein, of course. Very kind of you. Yeah, exactly. True Crime Wifey says that Elizabeth Boya was all about getting a house at a better price than Dan did. She was very nosy, right? And I've gone on like the county website before to look at things. I don't think mine shows nearly as much. I'm trying to think. I think I would look at it like if a house recently sold in our neighborhood and I was trying to figure out who bought it or something like that. Like if I knew the people. I know that sounds weird, but we don't have an overly friendly neighborhood. This was not like a bunch of Nashvilleians in here. I agree, Judy. Harvey should be charged at least with witness tampering when anything's happening. I do think that, yes, they know that, but I think they also want to look at what the most serious charge maybe they can go after, but I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Only one way to Vietnam speaks volumes. Oh, wow. Sidebar Snoop. Dan was in New Orleans, French Quarter for a conference at the same time that I lived there. I often wonder if our paths cross. French Quarter is only 12 blocks. Wow. So then we all know some of the big evidence was the cell phone data, and that was just critical in the tower dumps. And we know we have Precious Corbett, and y'all, the amount of data was unbelievable. So they got 3 different towers, one around Dan's house, one around Creative Preschool, and then the other one around Premier Gym. And then they got warrants on Wendy, Donna, Harvey, and Charlie cells. And they got the warrants on 4 different cell providers: T-Mobile, AT&T, Verizon, and Sprint. And they just got to start combing through everything, okay? So at first, there wasn't really anything that showed any kind of connection. But then Corbett had another idea. It says to leverage the tower dumps. He knew that investigator Ison's working theory was that one or more of the Adelsons had hired whoever was in the Prius. Search warrants had been issued for those cell phones. If Ison's theory was correct, Corbett reasoned, whoever was in the Prius would have communicated with one or more of the Adelsons in the weeks preceding the murder. So he used a special software, and it worked. There was only one telephone number that appeared in both the tower dump records and the Adelsons' phone records, and it was a 786 number. On July 1st, 2014, 17 days before the murder, that number had connected with Harvey Adelson's phone number, which we now know was Sigfredo Garcia's phone number. And that phone number, that 786, had also been at Premier Fitness at 9:36 a.m. and 9:58 a.m. on July 18th. So when they looked into whose number that was, it came up to a T-Mobile subscriber, Sigfredo Garcia, who had an address in Miami Beach that just so happened to be a short drive from Donna and Harvey Adelson's front door. Isn't it amazing what all you can do? Yeah, forensic. Didn't Harvey say he didn't think the police were that smart to Charlie at Missouri? Yeah, Mount Surrey. Yeah. Yep. I agree. True Crime Wifey, State Attorney Office has Adelson fatigue. Yeah, she could be burned out, and it's okay. I mean, I think she definitely wants Wendy. Don't get me wrong, but she's got the goods. Yeah, Citizen Kane. I love George's comments about she was looking forward to cross-examining Donna and was disappointed it never happened. Yes. Donna with the bump meeting, she thought she was so sly. Yeah. All right. So then we know we get to also the GPS data, and they, of course, with the GPS data and the photos, they ended up getting to that North Miami car rental place. I'm not going to go into all that. I mean, I think we all know about that. And then we have the bank records from a JP Morgan Chase bank that someone had withdrawn, or in this picture, $40 from a cash machine in Pembroke Pines in Broward County at 6:46 p.m. on July 18th, which would track with that timeline, right, of leaving Tallahassee. And that GPS had a GPS device, I should say, in the Prius that would ping every 25 hours. And it happened to ping in Tallahassee at 12:26 a.m. on North Monroe Street. You know what that was near? The food trucks. Yep, the food trucks. That's why we're the food truck people here, because it just so happens that Wendy was at the food trucks that night. Are you kidding me? Okay, so that picture becomes a key when they start questioning Luis Rivera. Yeah, I mean, just right there. I mean, you can clear as day feel who these are. All right. So then we move on to chapter 13, Tato and Tito. And this was a good picture online. I was trying to put different visuals in here for everybody to make it more exciting than a PowerPoint. But we learn a little bit more about the Latin kings. So we know that Luis Rivera from here was born in 83 in Puerto Rico. He became a member of the Latin kings at age 10, and that is on page 217. He was first arrested when he was 13 years old, and he had a 3rd grade reading level. He was charged with shooting a neighborhood kid in the head with a BB gun at age 13. He never advanced beyond 3rd grade reading, and by middle school, he was regularly using the green leaf stuff and Coca-Cola. And he has a lot of tattoos, y'all. A lot. So they describe him, or Epstein describes him in a lot of detail. Yes, thank you, Mia. Murder by Maestro's channel, he is linked in this as well. He has a lot of, he does brilliant videos, but he has done a video tracking all of Wendy's movements. Yeah, forensic. Hey, Sigfredo, let's go to the bank. Yeah, these people were not your typical folks. My coffee is getting cold. Okay. I'm glad you're enjoying the pictures. Trying to keep it entertaining for everybody. So I chose a couple of photos from him on the stand where you can see on his, that would be his what? His left hand, he's got Keishla tattooed on his hand. That's the name of one of his daughters. And then we see, of course, all those on his neck. Yeah, we all want to know who Malia is, but I think a lot of us decided, whose chat was it the other night? I think it was on Sigfredo's, Patty's, that we think maybe that was a code word for Sigfredo. We don't know. Oh, good question. I believe True Crime Wifey, based on this document, which is the arrest affidavit. From reading this, they put everything in here and just regular time. So they talk about the ping, and they have it in Eastern Daylight, EDST is what they have it in with the coordinates. So on July 15th, 2014 at 10:25, the vehicle was at Katie McVano's residence, the Prius. On July 16th, it was on I-10. And July 18th, 12:26 a.m. EDST, the vehicle was located, gives the coordinates, on North Monroe Street at the corner of East 6th Avenue in Tallahassee, Florida, which is like, I mean, steps away from the food trucks, y'all. Steps. So if you don't find that interesting, come on. I think it's interesting. Taterbug, what is the name on Lewis's hand, that tattoo? Yes. Okay, so I've got some info on that. You're going to enjoy this, Tater. So this is the Latin Kings flag. Have y'all ever done a little deep dive into the Latin Kings? So I thought I would share a little history about the Latin Kings this morning. The Almighty Latin King, this is Wikipedia, in Queen Nation, also known as simply Latin Kings, is a gang actively, primarily in the U.S. The gang was founded by Puerto Ricans in Chicago, which I believe is where Luis Rivera lived until he was a little boy, and they moved to Miami. The Latin Kings are one of the largest Hispanic and Latino street and prison gangs worldwide. Did y'all know this? But you see this crown here with the 5 points? This is why we see these tattoos with the crowns. Now, when you look at different Latin King logos, they seem to vary based on my research by the city a little bit. But it says the Latin Kings operate under 2 umbrella factions: the King Motherland Chicago, headquartered in Chicago, and the Bloodline faction based in New York. The gang also has a significant presence in the prison system. I think this is why Mr. Charlie is in South Dakota, okay? Because he was talking about them in his trial. It says the Bloodline Latin Kings have a membership of 2,200 to 7,500 and operate several dozen chapters in 15 cities and 5 states. And Miami is a large one of those. Yeah, gang psychology is actually interesting. Yes. Yeah, our search history is off the chain. I know, that's true. But then, I mean, I guess they could say, oh, well, we'll look at their YouTube history. You thought it was the Imperial Butters icon. Angela, that's funny. Oh, I know the time zones have been challenging, True Crime Wifey, but you got it figured out. Now we know on the body cams they do that UTC or whatever. Oh, Jolie says, I knew girls in my high school who had cousins in Latin Kings not to be messed with. So I'm just going to say, I'm not going to show it, but I did the little internet history search and I think I found his daughter. But the reason his daughter's name start with K is after the Kings, because he is the king. How about that? And I'll just say she too has a tattoo like this. Okay. So here we go. We're going to go into those tattoos a little bit. So Luis Rivera, at 14 years old, he began seeing a 20-year-old woman named Leona Annie Diaz. Okay, so she went by Annie, and she had one son named Anthony. Then Luis and Diaz have 2 daughters. Caritza was born when he was 17, so she would be in her 20s now. And Keishla when she was 19. Their names begin with K because they're descendants of King Tato. Did y'all know that? Because I didn't. I bet a lot of people knew that. Yeah, I'm glad y'all are enjoying the deep dive. I'm trying to bring y'all some new stuff, but like this is the kind of stuff though that Epstein goes into in details, and I find it very fascinating. We do go into that Rivera. I mean, we have to remember, like, I know we're all like, oh, Luis, he's so great. But y'all, he was arrested in 2008 for domestic violence. He was in jail for 30 days. Diaz swore a warrant against him. He was also convicted on drug and weapon charges years later, but he was really only sentenced to probation then. Then in 2010, he met a woman named Jessica Rodriguez, who, if you've watched these trials, she does testify in one of the earlier ones. They don't show her face, but they show her feet. And she has like, not acrylic, but like those clear kind of high heels. Rodriguez was also born in Puerto Rico, raised in South Florida. She had an 8-year-old daughter named Sienna. And for the next few years, they lived kind of like all over the place. They lived in her different houses with his mom, his baby sister, or wherever he landed after a sexy lady invited him for a night of passion. Interesting. Rodriguez was aware, her boyfriend, of what he was doing, and she didn't have any issues with the extra cash he would bring in. This is on page 219. But because she was on probation, she insisted that those activities occur at Rivera's sister's or mother's homes. Anytime she found a baggie of Coca-Cola lying around their apartment, she'd flush it down the toilet before Tato could stop her. She wasn't about to have her probation revoked if the cops decided to search her home. 5 years in prison had been more than enough. We also know that Luis was a good worker, and he started working at Coastal Masonry, and he was a very reliable employee. He was punctual. He was on time. He would always come home. He'd shower. He would show up the next morning, regardless if he had been up all night partying. He was a certified operator of heavy machinery. He also became a foreman in his 20s. He had health insurance, a 401k, retirement account, and he had his earnings directly deposited into his, you guessed it, JP Morgan Chase checking account. He was with Coastal Masonry for 15 years. Yeah, forensic RNN. Remember when Charlie was talking about the gang on the stand? He said, when I get out, he was fearful. Yes, and also on the phone with his mom, he's like, I mean, there's like protective custody. I mean, he knew he was not in the Florida prison system very long before he was shipped off. I don't remember the exact timing. Yeah, age 14. It's crazy. Lots of symbolism. Trick on Wifey says, read the book. 8 ball chicks from late 90s. High income, influential families have daughters who go gangsta. Oh, wow. Forensic. Midwest prison is probably safer for that clown. Oh, his mother, they talk about her some. Let me see. His mom was Maria. Luis was second of 6 children, 4 boys and 2 girls. When Tato was a mere toddler, they moved to North Miami. Most of them were dirt poor, fathers long gone, imprisoned or dead. So when Rivera became an active King member at age 10, he had been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. And I remember that was an issue in a trial. I think it was Rashbaum wanted to bring it up, if I recall. Or it might have been Sigfreda's attorney. I don't know. It's all kind of running together. See? He cycled in and out of reform schools. But I thought this was interesting. He did advance to high school because the teachers just kept passing him, which is, I know, a huge problem in America, to Miami Beach Senior High, which ironically enough, I think the unindicted co-conspirator's oldest son might have gone there maybe before they moved. I'm not sure. That's what they were zoned for anyway. When he was in the 10th grade, y'all, he was busted by the SWAT team. So about his tattoos, he has a human canvas of tattoo art. Gigantic 5-point crown was centered just above his belly button. The word king was scrawled in giant letters above the crown with a smaller crown dotting the eye. All 4 members of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in vibrant color were inked into his lower legs. Other animal symbols, it just started pouring rain, were tatted on his shoulders. He even had letter burned onto the outside of each finger, King, spelled across his right hand, and LOVE across his left. Tato also had an affinity for extravagant jewelry, an $18,000 gold chain, his first of many purchases through the years. The gang leader had Keishla's name inked across the back of his left hand. So that is what we just saw in that picture there. That is Keishla on his left hand. And Caritza and Anthony were tattooed above his nipples. See, giving you all the, yeah. Yeah, the work history was surprising. Yeah, he looks good on paper with that. I wonder how much is in his 401k, you know? Sidebar Snoop. That gold chain would be worth 50,000 now. Isn't that the truth? All right. Look at this old picture I found of Sigfredo, y'all. This was like from 2006 or 7. I was trying to find new photos. Sigfredo Garcia is Tuto. He was first arrested at age 6. So his parents, Sigfredo Sr. and Susana, came to the U.S. from Cuba before he was born. So he's a U.S. citizen. His first memory of his father was when he was 5, when his dad was released from prison, one of several times he had been incarcerated. Sigfredo's mom worked multiple jobs to try to provide for the family. From sunup until late evening, she was a strict disciplinarian, often throwing a sandal at her misbehaving child to obtain compliance with her rules. Sigfredo Sr., his dad, was an avid Coca-Cola user and would partake in front of the children, Tuto's first snort occurring before the age of 10, when he snuck some powder from his dad's stash. His father taught him how to break into cars and would smoke the green stuff with him. By the time Tuto was 11, Sigfredo Sr. was gone for good, having fled to Mexico to avoid prosecution for additional drug crimes. He never said bye. It always tells us a lot, doesn't it? I know. I don't know why Blue River. I say some words and not the others, but Coca-Cola. Yeah, it is sad. It is so sad. Siggy was an arsonist before 15. Yeah, it's awful. All right. Let's see. What else did they talk about? His first arrest when he was 6. He set a building on fire when he was 12. He used alcohol fairly regularly. And he was in a 28-day drug treatment program by the 7th grade. By the time he was 16, he was working out regularly, molding his once scrawny body into sculpted, muscular physique. He eventually found his way back to public school at Miami Beach Senior High, seen here. He would cut classes frequently. He never graduated. He also joined a gang, but a different one. It was named the Latin Syndicate. By 15, he was having more brushes with the law, getting charged with auto theft, burglaries, possession of explosives, and assault of a law enforcement officer. I remember an interview with Yendra too. She's like, well, he does nonviolent crimes. I'm like, I mean, what are you talking about? Do y'all remember that? I'm going to look up. Let's see if I can find something on this. On the Latin Syndicate. What? I want to. Well, this is the Texas Syndicate. But Latin Syndicate was what his gang was called. Because remember, they've always argued, was he in the Latin gang king or not? But apparently he was in something called the Latin Syndicate. Okay. All right. So then his life changed when he fell in love with Catherine McVanawa. So she was born in the Philippines and at 7 moved to Miami. And then she went to, you guessed it, Miami Beach Senior High. Tuto fell in love with her. He was 21. And she was another girl who he thought was the most beautiful human he'd ever laid eyes on. It was like his one true love. She wasn't actually a Latina, having lived the first 7 years of her life in the Philippines with her mom, dad, and 2 brothers. They all came to the US in 1993, leaving behind a number of relatives who were content living in the island nation. Like Garcia, Katie was the youngest child in her family. The pair started dating in 2003, just after she graduated from Miami Beach senior high. Epstein describes her at 18. She was incredibly attractive. Her penetrating brown eyes, long jet black hair, olive skin, and beautiful smile, an enticing blend capable of stopping any young man in his tracks. Unlike Tutu, she was both straight-laced and smart, shying away from drugs and alcohol, not even a parking ticket besmirching her squeaky clean record. So then she attended Miami-Dade Community College, and then in August 2005, she went to the University of Central Florida in Orlando. Tutu then moved in with a friend, Mike Fernandez, down in Florida. And this is not the other Fernandez that we know about from researching these people, by the way. But this guy, Mike Fernandez, was raising his teenage brothers, and Sigfredo helped to also co-parent the boys and would take turns getting them to and from school. Yeah, they even, some creepo guy approached the teenage boys trying to get them to pose naked online or in photos. And Sigfredo and this Fernandez found the guy, and the man shot them. So Sigfredo was shot several times in his lung and liver. Neither was expected to survive, but miraculously, both did. They were in critical condition for days. So that was back in 2005. So that happened while Katie was in Orlando. So then Katie learned about it, and she allowed him to move into her Orlando apartment so that she could care for him while he recovered. By the end of her junior year, she was pregnant with their child, and they welcomed Ethan Garcia in December of 2006. And that was Katie's senior year at UCF. So they called themselves husband and wife, though they never actually married. We also know that in 2009, Garcia joined Rivera working at Coastal Masonry, and he also got his GED, but he got fired by his own friend for drinking while on the job. And I didn't know this. On page 224, he says that Katie got a bumblebee tattoo. She told her friend, "I love to fucking sting people." And he wrote, "For better or worse, her husband was the person who often felt her stinger." That Katie, she's got a bumblebee tattoo. Luis and Sig are the answer to nurture versus nature. Oh, that's a good quote. Yeah. Siggy needed ward cleaver. Taterbug. Unloved and unprotected children grow up to be angry individuals who turn into criminals. A lot of times, yes. Hey, John, good to see you. In a way, I have more empathy for them than the Adelsons. They had very little chance from the day they were born. It's so true. You're right. Good point. JJ, we're happy you're here, and you'll have to go back on replay, but thanks for being here. If you are new, welcome. Yeah, that's what it was, True Crime Wifey. Yendra said the crimes were victimless, and she wanted to be a lawyer, right? Yes, no excuses for Katie. Her mom was a nurse. Yeah, she sure could talk gangsta. Yeah, there's some stuff on shrimp. I think we get to it. There is some. I'm not able to hit it all, but I think I do hit some of it. Yeah, right. He was a shooting victim before he shot Dan. True Crime Wifey says Judy has a great interview with Yendra. Yes, she does. It's great. All right. So this is the part that I think is always very interesting. So now we get into, let me see. Let's just say then when Tuto got arrested again, he was 32 when he arrived at the Miami-Dade County Jail that evening. This was beating up and robbing an old man. He had been incarcerated there no more than 25 times his days as a juvenile offender. So, yeah, problem. Okay, now we get to chapter 14, cell phones, cars, cycles, cash, checks, and C cups. So Corbett, again, is analyzing the data. He notices Garcia had 2,700 connections from his cell phone to Katie's from May 1st, 2014 to July 19th, 2014. So 2.5 months, 2,700 connections. Y'all, that's insane. Crazy. Charlie Adelson had more than 900 connections to Katie's phone during that same time. So then he goes in and explains the July 18th phone timeline, which we also have in the arrest affidavit. But let's go through this. So Katie called Garcia at 12:01 a.m. on July 18th. Then she was on the phone with Charlie from 12:07 to 12:14 a.m. And then Charlie calls Donna at 1:02 a.m. 1 minute later, Charlie and Katie are on the phone for 20 minutes. Then Donna calls Wendy at 8:09 a.m. Charlie calls Wendy at 9:12 a.m. Charlie and Wendy talk from 9:19 a.m. until 9:37 a.m. Immediately after, Charlie calls Donna. Katie and Charlie speak 3 times between 9:58 a.m. and 10:09 a.m. Then Corbett noticed there was a lack of activity on Rivera and Garcia's cell phone, so they assumed they were powered off around 10 a.m., which I believe we've seen in testimonies. Charlie was on the phone with Donna from 11:22 a.m. until 11:29 a.m. And then he was on the phone with Katie 11:31 a.m. to 11:36 a.m. So y'all see there's no overlap, right? Like, oh, it's obviously like a train of calls. Then Sigfredo calls Katie, we know, at 12:30 p.m. when his phone powered on. It was a 44-second call. You know, it's done. She says, I know. So Corbett pieces the timeline together and realized July 16th to 18th was the second trip. There was a first trip, June 4th to June 5th. So there was this whole flurry of activity. So the trip at that time, they had a Sonata car that they ended up driving to Tallahassee. We know he had originally, I think, rented an Altima, and then he got a ticket, returned it. So it was a Sonata. And the GPS tracker pinged at Benton Hills, Winthrop Park. This was back to some other July 1st data that really jumped out. Katie and Charlie's and called Sig. Katie was at Charlie's house and called Sigfredo. So Katie called Sigfredo while she's at Charlie's 48 times from 10:04 to 1:20. Now she says it was because it was about him getting the kids. But is that because they're like, we got to get it done? Katie and Sigfredo speak at 5:05 p.m. for 6 minutes. 9 minutes later, Garcia called Harvey. Okay. This was big. Voicemail is what Corbett said, that the phone likely went to voicemail. Katie tries to reach Sigfredo 30 plus times. And Katie also calls Harvey at 7:43 p.m. Have they brought that up both times in the trial? Because I just feel, yeah, Katie was busy. Grish is here. I want to hear what True Crime Wifey is saying. Yeah. What time was Wendy on Trescott? Yeah, well, 12 something ish, but when was she really there? Yeah, exactly, Angela. That's yes. The jet ski story was BS. Yeah. Yes, Melissa, you're blue. It's a surprise. I was trying to change up some things. True crime waifu. We know Yendra that Katie's kids were sleeping at Yendra's that night. I just thought it was interesting that not only did Sigfredo's cell call Harvey, which they say, oh, he was mad. And so he Googled Harvey's and it called the Adelson Institute and that forwarded to his cell phone, all blah, blah, blah. And that's why. I'm not so believing this. Melissa, you don't have to do anything. It's just, don't worry about it. But do y'all find this fascinating? Yes, July 1st is very important. Okay, y'all. This was like a lot of detail to them because it was showing like all of a sudden this flurry of activity. Judy, don't worry. We understand you got stuff to do. It's okay. All right. Then we get into I don't go into all the different details. I mean, y'all, there's so much, but they look at the shopping spree. The first thing they bought, Garcia bought a 1984 Chevy Monte Carlo coupe, and it took 8 days. He also, in August of 2014, purchased a Honda Racer motorcycle. October, bought a 2000 Nissan Maxima. They also bought new motorcycles. Rivera bought a 2003 Suzuki cycle and a Toyota Camry. What morons. Then, we go into all the cash and all that with Katie and how she was depositing all this cash. Okay. And then in the fall of 2015, she started driving. And I found this is a black 2001 Lexus LS 430 on the screen. So y'all can see that was the really big Lexus. And I found one that was from Florida. That's not the actual one, but I enjoyed finding that. Then we also know that she got some boobs. That there was a close inspection on her Facebook, March of 2015, revealed some differences she'd posted from a year earlier. Her chest had swelled considerably, and she had gone to a surgeon in Coral Gables, and patients referred to him as Dr. Boobner. Of course, we know Charlie told June that he only paid for one of them. True crime wifey, that's very sweet. You don't have to do that. It's so kind. Did anyone see Carl? He went over the CLE about this case. Yep. And I've got it, the whole transcript, and downloaded it too. Yeah. Was the Lexus ever taken out of Harvey's name? Yes, it was. It was actually Charlie had it, and then he had given it to Katie, but then what's his name? Harvey signed the title over to Katie, and they wrote down an amount. I think it was $1,700 that they, quote, sold it for, but there never was any evidence of $1,700 cash coming out of her checking account or anything. Yeah, here it is. But what happened on January 23rd, 2016? Okay, so this is a year and a half or so after the hit. Harvey signed the official title to the Lexus, which bore his name rather than Charlie's, over to Katie. Hello. The odometer section revealed 150,000 miles, and the selling price was listed as $1,700. Even if paid, that sum would have been far below the car's Kelly Blue Book value, but there wasn't an iota of evidence. Funny, because that's what Donna demands in her sentencing. Where's the evidence? Not one iota. In Katie's bank records that she'd actually withdrawn the sum of $1,700 or any similar amount to pay for it. Regular, the Lexus appeared to be a generous gift. So there you go. Thank you so much, True Crime Wifey. So sweet. Okay. All right. Then we get to chapter 15, tightening the noose. So while I reheat my coffee, I'm going to play the video of the bump just because I know most of us here have been following this forever and we've all seen this. But I think it's fun to revisit, right? So it was April 19th, 2016. It was 1:45 p.m. Wendy worked a full-time job. I think she was down with that. She's still with the judge at that time. So Donna was headed to pick up the boys. And the whole time the FBI is watching. And do y'all know they even had a plane overhead? That was in the book. And Isom was on the phone with Agent Sanford the whole time.
Black shorts. What is it? Yeah. Okay. Okay, bud. Excuse me, Mrs. Adelson? How you doing? Just want to give you this. Listen. No, don't be scared. Listen, just want to let you know that we know that your family has been taking care of Katie and her friend Hugo for quite some time after your problem up north has been resolved. And I want to let you know that my brother, he's incarcerated. He helped your family with this problem you guys had up north. And we want to make sure that he's going through some rough times. And we want to make sure that you take care of what he's going through, the way you're taking care of Katie and Tuco. Well, this will explain it. Thank you. Not from this area.
I just noticed that. Did y'all see on that sign? It said Monty's, and that is, ironically enough, right, the restaurant where they Charlie and Donna meet the next day. But well, nope, it ends there. Okay. But did y'all know that about the plane was flying overhead too? Yeah, they ruined Donna's day. Donna Ria was dumbfounded. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Hey, Pella. Yeah, a car and boobs, the motivation to commit red rum, right? It's awful. Yeah, thank you here for today. This case is fascinating because, among other reasons, of the level of Adelson narcissism and entitlement, they all thought they'd get away with it. Agree. So then I have a little bit of a fun surprise. So we're going to listen to the post calls 1 and 2. I pulled this from Donna's trial, and you can hear the hey, Harv.
Hello? Hey, Harv.
Is that not the best? That happened in Donna's trial. And that's Drina. Harvey's like, hello? And Drina, hey, Harv. And Sanford looks at Georgia, and I'm like, really, guys? I mean, is that not amazing? I've got to do something with this. I gotta come up with a video because it's just pure gold. But now they'll play the phone call.
Oh, there's, wait, nothing 3. No, it's fine. It's good egg.
Is that time tonight after work or some other time in the very near future? I need to keep with you. Okay. Okay. Did someone write a letter to you or something? I've got some paperwork hand delivered to me. You're being sued? No, that's what I thought it was, but I'm going to talk to you. Okay. Okay, so, I'm gonna even, I'll have to figure out something. You can tell us that we, wherever you are. Well, I'm in Mitch Klein's office on Park Boulevard. Okay. So I'm right now in Thailand, Chile, and I'll be at his office in the afternoon. Okay. So the boys who finished their, piano lesson around 4-ish, and they, the traffic over there, and they take a ride with them up there. Does Dad know about it? The dad's at work today, fortunately. What's, IRS? You know, the IRS people, they're kind of foggy sometimes, but, unfortunately not now. Okay. So I will talk to you. I'll give you a heads up if I'm gonna drive up that way. Okay. And, is Wendy down there? Is it involved Wendy? No. So let me just talk to you later, and, what is it? Is that health okay? Yeah. Does it involve me or other people? Well, probably both of them. What's that? Probably the two of them. So you probably have a general idea what I'm talking about. So let's just find some time to talk to each other and take the boys for a ride, okay? You're gonna take the boys up there? No, they can get them from home. Maybe we can get here till about 7 when Dad gets here. So it's harder to talk to me today? Okay, or tomorrow, and it's important. All right. Well, I'll be up at Mitch Klein's office. You want to come up? Oh yeah, really. I'm just concerned that I just have to get up there and get back in time for them to get this, and sometimes she gets out a little earlier than not because it's coming out here. Can I ask you a question? Who's paperwork sent from? I see that, that's great. I was something that came hand to hand to me. I acted to go on today. And he said, is it right? Was it anonymous or? No, oh no, not anonymous. Not anonymous. I just don't want to discuss it. I'll discuss it. All right, it is. It's silly, but, if you want, I wouldn't bother you, trust me. Yeah, you want me to come down to see you tomorrow, I get the day off? Yes, that would be wonderful. Dad actually starts later tomorrow. You know, he goes in at 1 o'clock. We both work out at the gym from 1:30 to 10:30. So whatever it is, I'll take a look at the paperwork. Yeah. I hope it's not the IRS. I just would like you to review it and give me some input into what your thoughts are. Okay, so come down tomorrow. Dad leaves at 12, so anytime after 12 would be good. 12 tomorrow. Yeah, he leaves at 12, he starts at 1 there, so 12, 12:15. I'll come down next year, then I think I gotta leave and see if it's that would be great. Perfect. All right, I'll talk to you later. Love you coming down.
I mean, Pat Sanford, that just like cracked me up. So we got to hear the first call. So then we all know, oh, I know, hearing the boys on the swings in the background. I think that is one of the hardest things in this whole case is in the calls when you can hear those little boys. It just makes it so real, you know. You hear the children. Yeah, wait till they hear this one day. Yeah, it is exactly. True Crime Wifey. When we talk about the Justice for Dan Markel community, it's a village that cares. I do think when she says probably the two of us, both of us, I do think that is something that, you know, who would just be like, see? But then he's like, what about Wendy? Yeah, Pella says they easily implicated themselves with their persistence on the phone. Yeah. All right. So now we'll go to the second call. Don't worry, I'm not going to play them all.
PM.
Publish call B, please.
Hey, how are you? Good. Is it me not paying the fund tax? I don't get it. No, listen, what was I gonna say? Do you mind paying my Brown and Brown insurance?
No.
Okay, because I'm gonna just stick with the same company. Yeah, but the thing is this, if you stay with the same company for 3 years, they then try to bump you down to the lower bracket.
Oh, okay. So it's a good idea to do that.
So I might as well stay with them and hope that that's actually true, that they can do what they said about putting it in the lower bracket.
Okay. Do you want me to call Pam Hall?
Yeah, because I told her that my mom called her because she handles like that stuff at the office.
Okay.
And then just send them a check. But they have to have it for, I want to say the 29th or something.
Okay.
And I was looking at do that. And listen, whatever it is, whatever someone sent you, I wouldn't worry too much about anything.
Okay.
I mean, so if someone can write whatever they want to write, someone can say whatever they want to say, and I'm not worried. So, was it another bad review on Yelp?
You know, there's reviews come in, and sometimes they are bad reviews. This is a particularly bad one.
So I'm not being sued.
No.
Okay. All right. Honestly, it's whatever it is, and I wouldn't just judging from what you're making it sound like. I wouldn't stress it out too much.
Okay. It's probably nothing.
Oh, yeah, listen, people can always write, people can always say anything they want. It doesn't, if someone says you're a bad dentist, it doesn't mean you're a bad dentist. So, but anyway, I'll definitely come down. It actually works out perfectly to have the day off.
Okay. You know,
So-
so I'll make you take me out to dinner, so make sure you bring cash with you,
All right.
okay?
Do I need to bring cash?
Yeah, if you take me out to dinner, I can give you that's probably a good idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this, look, I should bring cash. I don't have much cash to bring.
Yeah, okay, I'll see if I have another couple, let's see what I can hear. Okay.
Was it, can I ask you, is someone blackmailing you?
Well, it's always a good possibility.
Do you think someone's trying to blackmail you?
Maybe. Could be.
No. That's crazy. Is there, I don't know what blackmail is for, but is there any way I can see you? You can't come up here at all?
It's gonna be difficult if they don't finish the parent teacher needs to about 4:15. And even if I, came up there and got there little, maybe 5:15, it was gonna be tough to, necessarily get back here in time for, me to pick them up.
Was this, can I just ask you this? Is this anything government related, or is this like, whack job writing a letter to you?
Like who?
Is it like a whack job writing a letter to you, or is this government related?
No, I don't know if it's government related.
So it's not government or military or anything like that?
No.
Who was the letter addressed to? To you? That's crazy. Did it have do you know who sent it to you?
That was a pretty good idea. Pretty good idea. But, let's walk in and just walk in either, and I would like to, I have to try to get through today. I will definitely, I just don't know if I'm gonna get back here in time for them to not know how to be going to me.
Is it, so whoever sent you the letter, sent you an anonymous letter?
Not really, not.
And did they sign it?
It's handled everything.
So someone showed up, was it like by a process server?
That's what I did, was.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
Where did they come to you at?
When I walked out of the building, and they were white, and I protect both driveways with the icon.
Right?
And I walked in about 5 feet from pressing the button so that I could cross the street to pick up the guys after me.
Right?
And just as I got on the sidewalk. Yeah. Okay, Peter, so you stay up here then, okay? You stay up here. I'll work on the computer when Ben finishes, okay? Yeah, amazing. Somebody knew exactly who I was. Hope you don't know.
And he came over and was it a young guy, an old guy?
So probably mid-30s. I wouldn't forget that face.
Really?
So we can wait for you to go up there. I'm just concerned about getting back here in time and, then you're worried. I don't think it's a good idea to do it before we have to go. You know?
All right.
Yeah, I'm looking for it's going to be a shock for
Well, I mean, you have to get into this stuff with insurance. I mean, that's crazy that someone handed you a letter like that. That aren't real.
You do better just keep it tomorrow, about 12:15, 12:21.
Is the person like threatening you or anything?
You're never gonna have it interpreted. So, let's not worry, and let's meet tomorrow, I think that's better. But let's meet tomorrow this afternoon.
All right, let me ask you this. Do you want to take a picture of the letter and send me what someone sent you?
Not really, I'm gonna do that.
So it wasn't wasn't the government or the military or somebody, some random person.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. How long was the letter?
No, it was just a copy of an article that's not being written in the letter. That was written in a copy of that letter.
Is the person threatening you?
I don't think we should.
Actually, I mean, it's kind of thing, if there's a threat, you go to the police.
Yeah.
But anyway, let me,
I don't think that's a good idea.
well, I don't mean it's, people threaten, you gotta go to the police, but let me see what it is, let me see what nonsense it is first.
Okay.
It won't be the first time I've been threatened.
Yeah.
But,
I'd like to just see it, see what you think.
yeah,
I mean,
no,
we should go to the fisherman, right here, right up here. So let's do that, let's make it, 12:20, 12:30, tomorrow, that would be ideal, okay?
okay, you got it.
Yeah, I'm excited to go over it, okay?
All right, yeah, no, I'll come down, I'll see you.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right, if it's something serious, I'm gonna recommend going to the police, so,
Oh, no, I know, that's what I'm thinking to do.
all right, sounds good.
Let's go tomorrow, okay?
All right, you
On this call, we hear the defendant say that this is a particularly bad.
Sanford's face just cracks me up. Okay, we're not going to go through any more of those calls, but I think Charlie called 3 times. According to this book, but we've all listened to those. So then we know the day after the bump, which was April 20th, 2016 at 1 p.m. So remember earlier I said we saw a sign for Monty's. I've actually eaten at Monty's down there. If it's the place I'm thinking of, it's known for its stone crab claws. I'm trying to remember what video it was, but thank y'all. Forensic, yeah, Judy does a funny video. She made Donna's bump shirt, which is impressive with the paint and everything. So they met outside. So Donna and Charlie, I guess after their 3 damning calls, decide to go and meet in person. This was at that marina behind Monty's. They were at that, like a concrete, you can kind of see their picnic table. And they did have Pat Sanford and other FBI agents close by. And the closest agent was on a bench about 40 feet away with an audio recording device. But it was impossible to capture any useful audio without blowing the agent's cover. And by 1:30 p.m., the mother and son were on the move, walking down the boardwalk back to the Icon. So they did not get anything from that, unfortunately. But they did have the picture. So, oh, you still have your homemade bump shirt. You did a good job with it, Judy. So then after that meeting, I like putting this timeline together because we all see this stuff. And for me, it just helps to put it all in order. Like, oh, okay. So then after they met, Charlie gets in his car, and he drives to Sunny Isles, Florida to meet Katie at Dolce Vita, right? So we know here is the audio that they were able to make out things after listening to it multiple times, but Willie Maggs didn't think it was enough to get Charlie until I guess the audio had been redone. But just some highlights. They were in Charlie's car for like 10 minutes before they went in. But they did have, it's really loud in there with all the concrete. I'm not going to play it. But Charlie's like yelling at Katie, about the blackmailer. You call him on the phone. All I want you to say is, I got a call from some friends who said that you reached out to them and that you mentioned my name. And he said, we're going to give to charity to help the less fortunate. And Katie's supposed to say to the blackmailer, do not contact these people again, or they're going to the police. And Charlie, this was the damning kind of thing he said. If it's the police, they can't take the money and won't even come to meet you. They effed up. If it's this guy, maybe you better kill him because he's going to be a big problem. If you can't do it, I'll have someone else do it. But then, he also talks about if they had any evidence, we'd already be at the airport. Let's see. Then, of course, Charlie calls his mom, says, everything's good. I hung out with my friend. She's going to sleep on some stuff. Donna, oh, you think she's okay with everything? It's good. And he's like, yeah. I would worry about absolute nothing. These people are morons. Do they think like FBI can't figure out what they're saying? You can tell Donna was always apprehensive when Charlie was reassuring her. She was like, uh-huh. Charlie told her he found the situation very weird. This is what he told his mom. It's the kind of thing that can easily be traced. They can easily be caught, and they will easily have charges put against them. Extorting people is like up to 10 years in prison. He felt confident. He said the situation was something that can be dealt with. It's not bad. Without a doubt, he assured her, everything is fine. No question in the world. Yeah. Okay. And that was a good idea, Leanne. I'm going to make a video on that. I made a note. So, again, we continue on in chapter 15, tightening the noose. So there was a hidden camera on the phone pole outside of Katie's townhome, and they had been watching Katie and Sigfredo. And this hidden camera also would occasionally pick up phone calls between Sigfredo and Katie. So that was kind of interesting. So it would pick up these calls they would have because they somehow wrote the number down wrong, and he goes into all that, and then they try and talk in code to correct the last 4 digits. I mean, it's just they can't seem to get it right. Then there was a second bump. So I'm going to go through all the 4 bumps. I know we always just say the bump, but there were actually more bumps along the way. So again, just spelling this out. So remember, the first one was April 19th. Okay. That was when they met Donna Sue on the sidewalk. And then on April 25th, they decide, let's push this some more. So they sent a letter, and it just said to the Adelsons, and it was addressed at their Miami condo. And the text or the letter read, my phone is not ringing, so you do not care about Tato and what he did for you. He knows he is fucked, and soon so will you. Can y'all even imagine? Well, guess what? Because at this point, they hadn't clued in Harvey that this was going on. At April 27th, so 2 days later, the letter arrived, and Harvey opens the mail. Okay. Then Charlie asked his mom on the phone, is Dad still upset? Yeah, he's not having the best day. If I recall too, like she had talked about diarrhea or something, I feel like. So then bump number 3, and I threw a FOIA photo in here for y'all. Have y'all ever seen this photo? I was like, you know what? I'm going to show y'all this photo. So here is a photo of, this was actually Roman's birthday party. So we've got Charlie and Erica, and I don't know who that girl is. Then we've got Clarissa and Wendy. All right. So this photo really has nothing to do with the bump, but I just wanted y'all to know. So then Charlie just keeps, letting her know, taking care of everything. So then bump number 3 was on April the 28th. And the FBI agent, he calls the Adelson Institute and asks to speak with Donna, telling the employee who answered, that we know was Erica, that his name was Sammy and that he'd given Donna paperwork. It's very important. So, yeah, new photo alert. So then this was the call after the call. It's just a short little 45-second. This is actually from Fancy's page. But after that call, then he's trying to find the number. And so he calls his mom.
Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Mom, do me a favor. Does Erica have caller ID at the office?
No.
There is no caller ID.
No.
Is there a way of looking up what number it was that called? I thought we always had that caller ID thing at the office up front.
We did, and it stopped working, so they just dumped it. It was not working properly.
Okay, because that number was a non-working number. I'm going to have someone try to call it again and find out maybe it's working now, okay?
Yeah, okay.
All right, I'll call you as soon as I hear something.
Thank you, Charlie.
I'll call you within an hour, okay?
Okay, bye.
You can hear how stressed. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Charlie. So, yeah, they're trying to figure it out because they don't have the number with them and they're saying it doesn't work. And things are getting really heated back and forth between Katie and Charlie. But yeah, new photo right there for y'all. Okay. So there's lots of all these phone calls, lots of good F-bombs. I mean, it gets crazy. So then there's a phone call. And I've got to go find this. Maybe somebody has the link to it. I mean, there's so many different videos out there with them. But Charlie continues talking to his mom. He says, what was even odder, he told Donna, was that they're not bugging Wendy because that would be the first person I would go to. What do you think about that? Okay, that other photo was from Roman's birthday party. And I just wanted to include it in there just so y'all can see that they were socializing, all these people. Because if you've ever watched Erica testify, I mean, she thinks Charlie's the greatest. Hey, New York Patriot lady, it's so good to see you. Yeah, Charlie was getting nervous. Yeah, just like speed bumps. Bump, bump, bump. Yeah, what did happen to Donna's teeth? Because like she had these beautiful white teeth and now they're awful. I mean, do they remove veneers when you go to prison? So then Charlie calls the bump guy, which this just kind of cracks me up. So I wanted to play this one because, you know, Charlie acts like he's just so big and bad and tough.
Hello?
Hola, diga. Hello, diga.
Hi, who is this?
Who's this?
Someone's been calling my family and trying to figure out who this is.
In reference to what, man?
Someone by the name of Sammy called.
Yeah, that's me, man.
All right, what's going on?
Well, what's going on is my brother Tato. Okay, my brother Tato has not been taken care of. His family's not been taken care of. I talked to a dentist. Why are you calling me? Who are you? I gave the number to a lady.
I don't know, Tato.
You don't know Tato? I'm
No.
sure you know Katie and Tuto. They've been taken care of since the family problem been taken care of up north.
I don't know who you are.
You don't? Well, this isn't going away, my friend, because let me tell you something. I was at Broward with Tato, and he told me the whole story. He told me nobody was taking care of him. Nobody was taking care of his family. The family was taking care of Katie and Tuto, and nothing's been taken care of with Tato. So we know what's going on. And Tato needs to be taken care of. Do the right thing. The lady already has the paperwork. She knows what I'm talking about. We know Katie. We know Tuto. We know we've been taken care of.
All right, let me look at
No more f***ing around, man. No more f***ing around. This ain't going away. You guys need to do the right thing for Tato. That's my brother, man. That's my brother, and he needs to be taken care of. His family needs to be taken care of, just like Katie and Tuto have been taken care of.
I've never met these people, but let me call you back, okay?
That's bullshit, man. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You know this lady. I don't know your relationship with the lady, but we know what the is going on. Just ain't going away. Take care of Tato just like you take care of Katie and Tuto, man.
Let me call you back.
Y'all know he was like flipping out. So then, I mean, there's just lots of heated exchanges, calls. I mean, if y'all have followed this, you've heard lots of it. And I tried to find the call, I couldn't find it. But, you know, it's interesting as you go back and look at all this, as we now know who Rob Adelson is. I mean, we have a face to put with him, right? So Charlie's talking to Katie and he says, if it was my brother who was behind this, I'm going to fucking find out. I mean, fuck. If it was my brother, I'll turn him in and get the reward money. My brother's a piece of shit. Is that unbelievable? And they're messing up names. They're calling him Tuco and all this stuff. They're just going back and forth, back and forth. Katie and Sigfredo are getting into heated exchanges. So there's definitely a lot to listen to. And then we hear, of course, you know, Charlie's nervous and he's wanting to get Sigfredo something special, like a GoPro camera as a belated birthday gift. So then we move on to bump number 4. Judy says, you all should listen to a song called Ain't Nothing But a Bump by Cash Cashwell. I used it for a short. It's a great song. I'll have to check it out. Thank you. Hey, Linda. Good to see you. Thanks. I'm glad y'all are enjoying. Yes, I agree, Judy. Erica was awful. Like Clarissa. They should all be ashamed. Yep. And you know who else has sciatica stuff? Sigfredo has sciatica problems. Yeah. Charlie had to have been freaking out, y'all. He had to have been. Yeah, you could tell he was squeezing his sphincter. Yes, exactly. Rob is the only honorable one. How dare Charlie smear him, right? So then this is number 4 bump. The FBI sends Donna a text at 2:09 a.m. on May 4th. And I have used this in a short before. I'm going to play.
4th at 2:09 in the morning, the undercover sends her a text message, 2:09 in the morning. So you don't take me serious. You think I'm playing. You have some puta call me to see if I'm for real? If you think what Katie baby daddy did for you can't come back, you're fucking crazy. I want the now or I'm going after the 100K. So threatening. I'm going to go to the police.
I just think it makes it that much better when we get to hear Jackie read it. Good morning, Jenny. So yeah, that was bump number 4. So y'all know that the Pepto and the Imodium and the Charmin was just flowing at the icon. Forensic. How rude at 2:09 a.m., right? Yes, and Fulford reading that. That was in closing. But I just thought it was better to have Jackie read it. So does that help y'all with like putting the 4 different things together? It helps me just to lay it all out. Okay. Hey, Kristen. Hey, Jill. Good to see you. So then on May 24th, we know that the FBI visits Sigfredo at his office. So it is an agent plus Agent Sanford, and they're trying to talk to him and ask questions. And Sigfredo is not really wanting to give much information, and then he would. So this chapter is called The First Domino Falls. They keep saying, we got some information. Something happened a couple of years ago. Your name popped up. Have you ever been to Tallahassee? Garcia. No, I have not. And just going back and forth, he says, I go to Disney. So they were planning to leave in the next couple of days to go to Disney. And we know from Yendra's testimony, both families were going to go. And then Sanford's trying to get Garcia to go with them. He said, hey, if you would, I'd like for us to go over to the FBI office. We can sit down and go over stuff, some documents and stuff. And Garcia's like, I wish I could. I'm not that guy. He said, I'll have to call my attorney. And Sanford's asking, who's your attorney? Garcia, I don't know yet. Yeah, well, I think he got one right after that. Then they had said, he was concerned. He tells them that FBI agents have now come to his work. And he said, there's going to be a parade of questions right now, knowing the FBI is here. He said, this is highly sensitive personal financial information of clients. And he said, I thought maybe you were a disgruntled client. Remark how big the gun was under Sanford's shirt. Garcia says, unless you tell me I'm under arrest and you're taking me to jail. And Sanford said, no, you're not under arrest. And then he just says, hey, have you ever taken any trips with Mr. Rivera, with Tato? No, Garcia responded. Then Sigfredo says, the FBI just don't come around asking people questions. I watch enough CSI to know that. They asked, do you know Dan Markel? He's like, oh, he got killed? No. Anyway, so then Garcia finally is like, yeah, I'm going to speak with a lawyer. But then at the same time this is going on, there's the FBI banging on the door, Katie's townhouse, and she's home alone, has the day off or not working or whatever it is going on that day. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Yes, exactly. New York Patriot Lady. Over the years, the snow cap of Adelson lies have melted back to reveal all the lies. Yes, right? So Mike Perez, who was Sigfredo's boss, had gotten Sigfredo's cell phone and called Katie to let her know the FBI was there. So Katie was freaking out because it was ISOM and an FBI agent. They were banging on the door of her townhome, but Mike Perez had called Katie and said, hey, there's FBI. And she's whispering that she has people outside her door. So Mike Perez agrees to drive by. He confirms, he said, yeah, those are totally agents. She's like, why don't they call us first? like, it's some housewarming or something. So then later that afternoon, Sigfredo and Katie go to Walmart because it would not be a true crime story without Walmart. And they buy 2 burner phones called 2 Straight Talk wireless phones. And I think on the stand, I made a short about this week. She says they bought 1 phone. And then they're like, but you bought 2, right? And she's like, oh, yeah. I mean, she just can't keep it straight. So then the morning, May 25th, 2016, they're like packed up. I think everybody was gone except Sigfredo was going to meet. I think they were up at Katie's brother's. So Sigfredo went and got their dog, whose name was Thunder. That would be a good trivia question. And he had the Lexus loaded up with suitcases, kid stuff, all the things, getting ready for their trip, whatever, getting out. And he pulls into a gas station in Hollandale Beach, and he is arrested. All right. So it says, over the next 2 hours, Garcia sat handcuffed in the back seat of the squad car. Officers scoured the Lexus for any incriminating evidence, luggage, and children's toys strewn all over the gas station's parking lot. Among other things, they found 50 $100 bills, a small plastic baggie of Coke, and Tudo's wallet. So there you go. First arrest. So then we go on to chapter 17. And I think this is the last one. We're almost done. This is called Switching Sides. So they've got Luis Rivera. We know he's in prison on a RICO charge. And they go and question him. let's see, in January 2016, he had pled guilty to the federal conspiracy charges, and he had a 12.5-year sentence and was transferred to Coleman Federal Correctional Institute, which is almost exactly halfway between Miami and Tallahassee. So they had Rivera's name, you know, from the Prius car rental and from some cell phone records. So they went and met with Rivera, showed him, he was denying everything. So then they showed him the ATM photo. And he changed his story, admitting that he'd rented the Prius and traveled to Tallahassee with Garcia. He said to explore the Florida State campus. I mean, come on. So they pressed again on whether he was at the scene of the crime. He clammed up. He never would admit or deny. So then a warrant for his arrest was signed a few days later. And Rivera was formally arrested on June 28, 2016, and moved to the Leon County Detention Center in Tallahassee. The state attorney had planned to try him on October 24, 3 weeks prior to what was going to be Garcia's trial. So then Rivera's court-appointed lawyer, Chuck Collins, okay, we see that here in this picture. So they were working behind the scenes, and they worked on a plea agreement to second-degree murder, and they had the proffer. He'd be sentenced to 19 years to be served concurrently to his federal sentence. So on September 30th, this is one of the first meetings with Rivera and Chuck and Sanford. They meet, but this one is not on video. So Craig Isom and Pat Sanford, they're all there ready to hear what Tato had to say. And then he was ready to just spill it. So then a few days later, that's when they filmed the proffer that we've all seen. And that at that time, Chuck Collins wasn't there. It was his father, David Collins. So then he goes into all the details about the 2 trips to Tallahassee. And the first trip, he talks about they went up there, and Garcia said they ended up going to Hooters and they drank beer like crazy. Well, I was curious what the Hooters in Tallahassee looked like, and I found this. So it closed in 2025 and they leveled it. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Can't y'all just see them at Hooters? I used to work for a company, and if you ever had an expense report with a receipt for Hooters, they wouldn't reimburse it. It all stemmed from once a sales manager had a sales team with like 1 or 2 females on it, and he took them for a group dinner to Hooters. I mean, people are they're so stupid. And it became a big deal. You feel like Katie's brother has a lot of information? Oh, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. Luis knows what's up. Sigfredo pretends to be an idiot. Whatever happened to all the FOIA? I have a lot of it. I mean, some of it's just not that good. And then I got the letter, and so I just kind of backed off. But I have been thinking about revisiting a lot of it, which I will. Yeah, great question, sidebar. How did Sigfredo get a job at a finance company if he had all this like criminal record and been in jail all this? It's kind of frightening. Okay, Judy says it was a payday loan type place that targeted poor people. So Luis flipped in. So he was arrested June 28th, and then behind the scenes. So essentially September 30th, they shared the deal. And then in October, just a few days later, then they filmed the proffer as we all know it. So that's when he flipped. So 2016. he keeps, talking about how he's a jack boy, that he robs drug dealers. He says, I beat people with bats, hit them with sticks and stuff like that. Puerto Rican accent. He said he didn't learn they were going to kill somebody until when they left Miami the first time while planning out their trip at Rivera's apartment. Garcia told him, "We getting hired, but to kill somebody." Rivera says, "Who's effing hiring you?" "Katie told me this lady is going to hire me." Eventually, Garcia had to stop confessing that he couldn't remember how to get where they were going. This was the first trip to Tallahassee. The bigger problem, Rivera revealed, was that his friend was drunk, talking about Sigfredo. He said from that point on, Luis said Garcia didn't need to look at a map again, recalling precisely how to get to Dan Markel's house from memory. Based on the way Rivera described Garcia's familiarity with where he was going, Isom and Sanford assumed that he'd come to Tallahassee once before without Luis Rivera. So that's where they get the idea that they also went in May. Oh, sad true crime. Thunder went to the pound. That's sad. Yeah, Luis did lose a lot of weight. Good morning, Rosie. Yes, I agree, Judy. Chuck Collins definitely better than Rashbaum. And I think I've told you Chuck Collins is a friend of mine is from Tallahassee that I went to college with, and her sister is friends with Chuck Collins and his wife. But I mean, it's kind of like friend of a friend. New York Patriot Lady. Any neighbors from Aqua Ridge ever interviewed to confirm when Wendy moved and if she rented a U-Haul? If so, when was it rented? Harvey and Donna always rented vehicles to trek up to Tallahassee. I don't totally know that. I've got somebody I might can answer who lived Aqua Ridge. Let me just see. Thanks, Linda. Give our classier version of Nancy Grace a thumbs up. Appreciate it. All right. So, yeah, the Hooters and Tally is no more. So then it just goes through all the different details of the proffer, which we maybe should watch that again sometime, and all the little nuggets. You really have to watch it almost just in sections. It's a lot of information and it can be hard to follow. They go into details about the weapons and when they bought those. They do talk a little bit about shrimp, John Smith. About a month after that initial trip, Rivera said Garcia told him, "Man, I got to do this." But Rivera didn't want to go back. He thought about it all day. He told investigators he blamed Katie for what happened because he had his pal all messed up, all confused. Garcia was living in an apartment near Biscayne with a 40-year-old black man named Jabaro. Isom and Sanford would later learn that, like Rivera, Jabaro was a Latin king named Anthony Ortiz. King Little Anthony. Wait, was that Annie's son? Because when they got together, Annie had a 5-year-old named Anthony. Sure makes sense, right? Oh, I'm glad y'all are liking it. Good. I'm trying to make this a little more exciting. Meanwhile, Katie had been living in Miami Beach with her kids. Let's see. Rivera explained that what Garcia does is he gets effed up, goes to Shrimp's house. He would be at Shrimp's house and leave the kids with Jabaro. It's very interesting. Who is Shrimp? Isom asked. Tatia. I call her Tatia, Rivera explained, but I just called her Shrimp. That was like his girlfriend. Shrimp was a stripper whose real name was Stephanie Carmona. Rivera told them that Katie couldn't stand it when Garcia stayed with Shrimp. She'd harass him. Every time he was over there, she would go pass by, drive by. Oh, mother effer, I see you. Throwing pictures of the house, sending pictures to his phone. She was reacting with intense jealousy about him being with Shrimp. But meanwhile, Katie was having her own relationship with the dentist. And he recalled thinking, like, you are effing this guy, and then you are over here harassing my dog. Let my dog live his life as you do. And discussing the messy situation with his best friend. You will be one day with Shrimp and then spend one night with Katie. Then she kick your ass out the house and go with this guy. Come on, man. Rivera said that Garcia would drink every day and would do coke. Sanford asked, who's the dentist? Rivera said he didn't know the dentist's name, but believed Katie had been working for him. He was certain she was, quote, effing a dentist. Then Garcia talks about firing him from Coastal Masonry. And then they go into the different details, the cars. He talks about seeing what he was 100% certain was Wendy the day of. He said that Katie told her husband that Wendy was just confirming they were really there. Because Rivera was really mad when they were driving down Trescott and they saw what Luis says was Wendy walking toward them. I remember clear as day with two boys. Man, what's up with this lady? And Garcia says, oh, that's the lady. That's Wendy. Katie says, oh, she just wanted to make sure that she wasn't paying them for nothing. Making sure you get that shit done, Katie instructed her husband. So Luis claims he hears that on the phone, that Garcia and them were talking. Neither Isom nor Sanford showed Rivera a photo to determine if she was actually the woman he'd seen. So that contradicts what we've heard. So I've heard there was a photo lineup and that Luis did pick out Wendy. But here it says, no, I don't know the facts. Anthony's a common name, but for him to be little Anthony, it just makes it, I feel like you like that quote, let my daughter live his life. You do you. Yeah, well, Siggy didn't function very well. So, all right, and they talk about, shooting out the line. So all the details, and then talking about the call, everything is done. And Luis says he was thinking, how the fuck does he know? He wondered, how would she know if this shit is done? So go into all that. So then the end of the chapter, we get to Katie's arrest. Those are really good chapter. I mean, I just can't read the whole thing here. But it was Saturday, October 1st. Katie had been at a dance recital for her 4-year-old daughter, Kaylee. It was a ballet recital. And when it was over, Katie dropped her daughter off at Garcia's sister's apartment so she could run errands. She went to a nearby strip mall to shop for clothing for Kaylee and for her son, Ethan. When she completed her shopping, she opened her trunk, which of course was the same car, the Lexus, that Sigfredo had been arrested in just months earlier. So she was kind of in some congestion in the parking lot. Then out of nowhere, she noticed what seemed like an army of uniformed police officer. Katie was frozen in terror, unable to move. An officer opened her door, reached in to place the car in park, screaming at her to get out of the vehicle. Yeah, Katie was out there shopping, spending that. Yeah. The 31-year-old mother did just as she was instructed, so frightened urine was streaming down her leg. Craig Isom and Pat Sanford stepped forward from behind the uniformed officers. Miss McBanawa, Isom announced, I have a warrant for your arrest for the murder of Dan Markel. She asked for permission to call her attorney and place the call from one of the two phones she had with her in the Lexus. So I guess one was her regular phone and one is her straight talk, probably burner phone. She was then cuffed, read her rights, and placed in a squad car to go to Broward County. Still standing in the parking lot, Isom said his heart was racing. He felt his cell phone ringing, vibrating in his pocket. He pulled it out and held it to his ear. On the other end, a man named David Marcus introduced himself as Charlie Adelson's lawyer. Look, Marcus said, if you have a warrant for my client's arrest, there's no need to ambush him like we understand you just did with McBanois. I can assure you we will have him surrender to you in Tallahassee. Just let me know in advance and we'll make those arrangements. So what happened then? Did Katie call her attorney and then her attorney called Marcus and then he immediately called Isom? What do y'all think? Yeah. So then that was the headline in the Tallahassee Democrat there that third Markel suspect, Catherine McBanois, booked in Leon County. So, all right, that wraps up today. I will not be doing book club next weekend because I'm going to be out of town. So then we're going to cover a lot the next time. So we'll have 2 weeks to get ready for the next one, which will be 2 weeks from today, which will be July 26th. I believe that's right. Yep. And we're going to do chapters 18 through 22. I'm trying to get through this so that we can be done by mid-August and then take a little break and then start one for the fall. I've got a few in mind. It won't be anything about this case, but it'll be something else. Oh, yeah. Julia, when children lose their parents, even to jail, they're scarred forever. Right? Yes, Leanne. Thank you so much for hitting like. And if you can, oh, yes. Oh, Mia, I'm so glad you asked. What is a joint defense agreement? So in 2016, they entered what's called a joint defense agreement. So all the defense attorneys, which include Charlie's and Katie's and Wendy's, were sharing all the information. So let's just think about that. All the Adelsons, Donna and Harvey, all of them, right? So Rashbaum was representing them. And then David Marcus, I guess, was representing Charlie. Laura was representing Wendy, but they were all in with this information. So, gosh, if you're so innocent, why are you doing this? Like, why are you entering a joint defense agreement? Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I am going to have a good trip. And, oh, thank you. Yeah, this is a big, I know my book reports is what I call these, the book club. Because, book club's really more like collaborative discussion. So maybe the next book we cover, we'll have people come on and discuss with me. Yeah, the book club starts usually 9:30 a.m. Central Time on Sundays. So that's 10:30 Eastern. What is that? 7:30 on the West Coast. Did they release a statement together, the attorneys? Can't recall statements together, but we know from FOIA that we can see Rashbaum's invoice to Donna. Maybe I'll do a show on that, like just a little video on that. And it shows like hours he billed for the joint defense agreement. So, okay, Miss Kitty, your Pacific time. I don't know if you get up at 7:30 on Sunday, but you can always join it. Beach chilling. I have seen with my own eyes the actual agreement. If y'all hold on a second, I'll see if I can pull this on my computer. I don't know that I can, but I will try. Oh, I did just check. Drina Bernhardt, True Crime Wifey had an update on her. I know that she is not in jail right now. I don't know if she's on some kind of what do you call that? What do you call that? Not a rehab, or what is she in? She's in something like that. Let me see if I have this readily accessible. Yeah, I'll go through. I'll make a video on it. I do have the bill though, where you can see where they wire like $150,000 to Rash Bomb. I mean, it's got all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be muggy. I'm staying in the South, but here for today. You're sweet. You don't get heard of it. Oh yeah, Leanne, I will. I'm gonna email you today. But y'all have a great day. But I will be Mia, JDA. It is a real thing. Like, I covered it. Yeah, she did go back to jail again, but currently, I mean, I just went to the Leon County inmate locator and she's not in there. But I feel like she's on some kind of sort of like a treatment thing and probation. Yeah, we'll see it. But I will keep y'all informed. But this is a good book. And like I said, I do not think Epstein is still pro Wendy. I'm sure he's careful in how he approaches it, but no, he's not. All right. Thank y'all so much. And as always, loved our time here. And I look forward to seeing y'all again. So like I said, I won't be here. Oh, real quick. One other thing, I will be doing the Wendy Part 2 parody with Jackie, not this coming Friday, but the next. So I think that's Friday the 24th. So y'all enjoy. We finally got that on the books and I'm excited to do that. So put that on your calendar and I'm sure I'll go live. I've been kind of like going in the rabbit hole on Taylor Parker, and I mean, I know a lot of people are covering it, but I kind of want to do like a shorter abbreviated version. It's crazy how kooky that girl is. She's right where she belongs, death row. Have a great day. Thank you all. Bye.
Like and subscribe because every case has more to the story. I'm Leslie B.